In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark.
Dark Souls is simply astounding. Let me just try and put it into words just how much I actually enjoyed this game. You begin your journey in a cell where an unnamed knight throws you the key to your freedom. The other undead that you find throughout the asylum act like they're losing their minds. This is a symptom of the dark sign. These undead are what we refer to as hollows. An undead that loses all purpose goes mad and slowly loses all humanity, turning into a mindless abomination. An undead that has a reason to exist can continue beyond death, and death itself becomes just a stepping stone towards his goal. As you make your way through the asylum, you meet with the knight that freed you. He seems to have been smashed through the ceiling, and is unable to continue. Before he hollows though, he shares with you the prophecy of the land of Astora, in the hope that you can carry out his legacy.
Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family, "Thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know."
This is the premise of the game. You believe that your fate is to discover why the land is cursed by undead. With no further instruction, but with new purpose, you defeat the asylum demon and make pilgrimage to Lordran.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Dark Souls has an incredible story that some say is poorly told. I say that it's just minimalistic. You get very little direction when you first start the game, however. By exploring and exhausting your options, you discover where to go and what to do.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess, fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first, but there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happened. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
As an RPG, there are many elements of the genre within the game. You kill things for experience, you level up, you upgrade your gear, and you explore and talk to new characters. Souls are the key to most things. They are gained through killing enemies and looting items. Souls are lost upon death, and some view this system as too punishing. However, the game teaches you to be careful, vigilant of your surroundings, and to learn from your mistakes. Being killed will cause you to respawn at the last bonfire that you rested at. Undead are linked to the bonfires, it is a part of the curse. Their humanity is used to keep the fires lit, and death shepherds the undead to feed the flames. Enemies will respawn when you return to these bonfires. You have a chance to make it back to where you died previously to reclaim your souls, but if you die before then, they are lost forever. Each area in the game has many challenges to overcome. The enemies change along with their attacks, weaknesses, environments, and situations. Learning to deal with them is the main challenge of Dark Souls. Most people quit the game shortly after the first boss, usually due to frustration and lack of patience. However, if you can keep your cool, take your time, and play smart, you will be rewarded. One such example is the Drake trap in the Undead Parish. You were introduced to the Drake fairly early on, so you should assume that it is still around somewhere. When you get to this bridge, if you observe your surroundings carefully, you'll notice that there are scorch marks on the ground. It would be safe to assume from this evidence that some kind of fire caused them, and if you approach the situation cleverly, you will be rewarded. The story is told in many ways, be it through CGI cutscenes, through character dialogue, item descriptions, or even through boss encounters.
Ah, so you see my plight. Yes, indeed. I've run up against a wall, or a ball to be precise. I'm afraid I'm a bit too plump to be outrunning those things. So here I sit in quite a pickle, but who knows? Perhaps we'll have another development.
My favourite part of the game is easily the story, but the epic bosses come in a close second. There are many, they are varied, they are challenging, and they are rewarding. The feeling of beating any of the bosses is hard to describe, but despite the huge amount of souls that you get and the satisfaction you get from earning them, this feeling of just beating the boss is much better than that. The game feels so rewarding to go through just because of its difficulty, and that's really what I'm trying to get at. The environments are incredible. From the drab areas around the Undead Burg, to the menacing Sen's Fortress, the disgusting Blight Town, the awe-inspiring Demon Ruins, the fantastic city of Anor Londo, and the long-forgotten Ash Lake. The atmosphere in Ash Lake was simply breathtaking the first time I got there. Despite all that, I keep coming back to the story though. While it may be well hidden and often hard to make sense of, everything about it is so gritty and dark. You'll come to realise that the choices you make, the characters you meet, and the things you do all have consequences, whether you see them or whether you don't. And these consequences are almost always twofold. While you may be doing a good deed by freeing a man, you may discover that he was not what he at first seemed.
I am grateful to you for freeing me. Our futures are murky. Let's not be too friendly now.
While you think you might be helping a fellow knight, you might actually be removing what little hope he has left and causing him to hollow.
Quite honestly, I've run flat up against a wall, or a gate, I should say. The thing just won't budge, no matter how long I wait. And oh, have I waited. So here I sit, in quite a pickle, weighing my options, so to speak.
While you look for answers and fulfill the prophecy, do you even act of your own accord? Or are you being manipulated? Who can even tell?
You are undead as well? Then we've no time to fraternize. I have my mission and you no doubt have yours. We must not let this curse overcome us.
I am Soler of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father. If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
There's no telling how long this Age of Light will last, and if the chosen undead can stop the Age of Man from coming to pass. There's no telling if the Age of Light is good, or just, or if it was even meant to last. Dark Souls has a rich story, and I cannot do it justice. The game has been the first one to grab me in such an astonishing way in a very long time. I'll leave a link in the description to a lore series that is well worth watching. I haven't even talked about a lot of the things, like the many ways in which you can attack in combat, the different movesets of all of the weapons, magic, bows. The game is deep, and with Dark Souls 2 coming this year, you do well to experience the first game. I'm MagicalMike, and I'm Quids In with this game. Cheers.
Soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.